Judging by all the complaints and like angry posts and comments I've been seeing on my wall the last couple of weeks from the MGTOW crew, it must be really hard being a low-level white boy in America. Because when I got to thinking about it, I was like, just think you get raised to think you're important and special and unique and deserving just because you're white and male. You expect all these kind of privileges just because you're white and male. And then reality slaps you in the face and you end up butthurt and angry because you don't get treated like who and what you thought you were. You don't get treated like the way that you expected to. But black males really aren't any better. So before people start thinking that, this is some kind of racist rant or something, it's not. This is an examination of the behaviors of males as evidenced by how they have been behaving when they come to this channel. So nothing I'm saying is made up. It's all there for you to see. But both of these guys, these groups of guys rather, get pissed because what they thought they deserved, these perks and privileges that they grew up believing that they were going to get, didn't show up. And so they're very angry. So they get on Reddit and they get on YouTube and they get to ranting and going crazy and shooting up schools and whatnot because they're mad. They're mad that no woman wanted them. They're mad that a woman left them. They're mad at society in general for not meeting their demands. They're mad at society for doing what they call putting women first over men's needs and promoting women's interests and things like that. All this is crap I've heard since these videos have gone up. But then we have to ask, well, what is society? The society that you're so upset at? What is that? Who created that? Society is what men with power and influence have created. That's what society is. It's made up of the laws and the religions and the marriage rules and the unions and the guidelines and the qualifications and all the other standards and whatever measurements that these original men put in place to keep other dudes in check and to make them strive to be better and to be greater. They had to give them standards of performance, because if men could just get whatever it is that they wanted with no effort, then why would they put forth the effort? We are women, as women, we know this. That's why we have to do the things that we have to do to get the best out of them. Men are innately lazy creatures. They want what they want and with as little effort as possible. And then when a woman requires them to put forth some effort, they want to get an attitude. Well, not all, but some. And, these standards that are in place, with regard to what they need to do to acquire financial stability or wealth and social status and create family connections and property ownership and political influence and all these kinds of things are put in place so that those men will be looked at as productive members of society and viable mates for women. They want them to be productive members of society because they are expected to carry on in the stead of the guys who originally created all this stuff, right? But these guys don't want to do it. They don't want to meet those guys' standards for manhood. And by not doing that, by avoiding that, that means they're not going to be included in these men's society, but they're angry and taking it out on women when it's really some standards that men have put in place for other men. And you guys don't meet it, and then you're trying to take it out on women. Nope, not having it. Yeah, you need to be mad at men because, them old dudes, them the ones that, fucked you over and set all that stuff in motion. So if you're going to be angry at anybody, you need to be angry at them. Now, one of the principles of this red pill MGTOW stuff, one of the things that they love to whine about the most is the principle of hypergamy. Now, hypergamy, I don't know if it was always called that, but the principle involves women marrying up. Women marry men who will place them and their offspring in a better situation than the woman could, do by herself. Now, I don't know what part of that doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why they're so angry and upset about it, because it's basically the marriage. It's basically a structure where a woman chooses a man of a higher social standing, a higher economic class, Basically, he has higher status. And usually these women are put in position of trading their youth and beauty and their womb, which is their fertility, to these older dudes who, have the money and the means to pay for it. That's basically what that means. So they basically, by positioning themselves in that way, they have the power and the influence and the money to get whatever woman that they, that money can buy, that they can influence her parents to give to them with, so an arranged marriage or whatever. I mean, these are the kind of situations where hypergamy was first developed. Now, what these do say is that, that it's something that's, what's the word? Where it's like, shoot, my mind went blank. Well, basically, like women have evolved. That's it. That women have evolved so that this kind of choice is genetic. It's not genetic at all. It's social. It's cultural conditioning, and it has nothing to do with a woman's gene. Of course, a woman wants a man who can, love her and protect her, but that's different from choosing a guy who's gonna be like a come up for her. That's completely different, and I'll go into that in a little bit because we have to talk about the opposite of hypergamy, which is hypogamy, where men come up. Okay, so we're going to talk about both of those things in this probably kind of long-winded video. So when you looked at the original part of this hypergamy stuff, these were arranged marriages. These were families that had to come with a big dowry to get some dude who was going to up their level of influence by his family name, his money, his wealth, his political influence. There's something that this guy had that they wanted to acquire for their family, so they would basically sell off their daughter to get it. That's essentially what it is, because the daughter really had no say in where she went and who she went with. The parents arranged all of that. So these guys saying, well, these women, this is something that's that they've learned over the years. It's like until recently women had no choice, and in some countries they still do these arranged marriages. The women still don't have a choice, so they don't even get to decide when they have a baby. Or if they can keep the child if they decide to leave the man. Nothing like that. The men have all the power. So for them to try to flip this around into being something that women have sole dominion over is kind of interesting, because that's not historically the way that it went. Now, I'm trying to figure out why these guys get angry when a woman passes over somebody who's broke, who don't have no money, who doesn't have any power, he doesn't have any influence, his family is shit, he doesn't have anything to offer. Why would you get angry at her for not choosing that guy? Well, I'll tell you, they put women in a cross, and it's very interesting information to share with you, because it's like men are coming from all different angles, and no matter what option you choose as a woman, there's going to be a large group of men who make you wrong for choosing it. So my thing is this: if you're going to be wrong, at least be happy, because the only person that you really need to be pleasing is yourself. So fuck all that shit. If they want, they don't like what you picked, and they think that you are, money grubber, gold digger, or whatever, your standards are too high, you too picky, all the stuff, just ignore them. Do your thing. That's my bottom line. I mean, if you turn this video off right now, that's essentially what I'm saying. But I'm just going to give you the explanations for why I say that, because I have examples. These dudes are nutty as fruitcakes. Okay. So, so a lot of the problem came about because there was a discussion online. A friend of mine posted this thing where he says, black women love dealing with losers. It just blows my mind, yo, he says. And he wanted to know what the answer was. So I'm like, this is kind of interesting. So I looked at the different responses. And I think, I want to say, first of all, that there's a big difference between a man who's a loser and a guy who may not be as much of a striver, as aggressive with his career or whatever, as another guy is. Because you got to look at it. There's just some dudes who seriously are, I mean, their needs are very simple. They are content, they just want their woman by their side. They want a steady paycheck from a regular job or from their little business or whatever. They want a big screen TV. They want a hot plate in front of them every night at dinner. And then they want to have a few beers. You know what I mean? I mean, their needs are very simple. And if you're, a woman who can deal with a man like that and that makes you comfortable, I mean, he's home every night at a certain time. His time is available to you and to his children. He's not too busy, doing all this other stuff and trying to be king of the world and all these other things. So he actually has time to spend developing a relationship with you, meeting your needs for companionship, meeting your needs for intimacy, meeting your children's needs for, an involved father and things like that. So it's a trade-off. There's definitely some advantages to having the alpha type of dude who's, always a mover and shaker and out doing shit. But, those types of men don't tend to be at home very much. They don't tend to have a lot of time for you. And yet they want to be resentful when you decide that that's not the type of relationship that you want. Now, let me tell you what happened. So this post, right, the post goes up. And so here comes this dude. He says, and his response for why women, choose these, quote, losers. Because they don't have to try as hard, he says. A man that's driven doesn't make them a priority and they get butthurt. So instead of supporting that man and his movement, they run to the nigga that's going to do nothing all day and kiss they ass. Facts, he says. And I sat there and I looked at that for a minute and I'm thinking, nigga, please. Who the fuck you think want to be in a position of being your fucking slave and supporting your nigga ass and they don't get shit out of it? I mean, what woman in her right mind would do that? And yes, she's going to run to the man who has time for her. And yes, she's going to run to the man who, I don't know, it's not that he doesn't do anything all day. He's just not doing what you're doing. Okay, so that doesn't make him be like a nothing bum. It just makes him a man who prioritizes his woman and his relationship over whatever he's trying to do career-wise like you. So that doesn't make him wrong. That just makes him different. And it makes him more emotionally and mentally and physically available. And so she's going to choose him over you. And that's just the way that it is. Get over it. You striving for this other shit, that's for yourself. That's not doing anything for her. That's not doing anything for the relationship. That's not building her up. It's not making her closer to you. It's not doing anything at all to benefit that woman. That's all about you. Yet you want her to sign on to help you do this shit for yourself. Why would she do that? I mean, you know what I mean? He doesn't make them a priority. And he says that right here. Doesn't make them a priority. What woman is in a relationship to be ignored? Please explain that to me. So see, he doesn't even get it. I mean, he just put it out there right there. And later down, a woman actually said, if I meet a guy who doesn't have time for me, I don't date him. I'd be wasting my youth waiting for you to make time for me. And a lot of women do that. They do waste their time. I don't recommend that. If you get a guy if you can handle it. Now, I have to keep saying that because some women don't have the mentality to handle what I call the basic dude, the basic average guy. Some women just really need more mentally and psychologically from a guy. They need more challenge, more something, I don't know. So I can't really find my words today. But they just need more. And so that kind of guy would, bore them after a while. Now, let's talk about this hypergamy thing some more. I think one of the things, these guys get really angry, and I think one of the things that they don't understand is that from the time we're little girls, women look into the future for how they want to live their lives, right? I mean, think about it. I remember in high school having friends who had like these scrapbooks for like wedding, what colors they wanted for their weddings and what they was going to name their kids and where they wanted to live and where they was going to go to college. And I think now they call it like a vision wall or something. Now it has like a fancy name. But, that was a long time ago and they didn't have all them psyche, SD terms in use yet. And so people just, had a scrapbook with their dreams or whatever in it. So these girls, and this was, what I experienced firsthand. So I saw this with my own eyes. They had dreams, they had plans, and the kind of man that they wanted to have by their side while they were executing those plans was very specific. So if they met a dude who didn't meet those things, they passed him by, and it didn't matter what kind of how he may determine himself to be a good guy. He wasn't what she was looking for. He was lacking in intellect, in education, in personality. His family sucked. There was something about him that didn't meet her needs. The chemistry was off, the compatibility was off. Something was wrong. And so she passed him by. He wasn't the one she was looking for. And he may be a perfectly nice guy, but he's not a nice guy for her. So guys ever have a hard time understanding how pragmatic some women are, the women who subscribe to the hypergamy theory. They're looking for a dude who's going to make their life better, who's going to make their children's lives better, who's going to make their family have something to brag about. My son-in-law is this, my son-in-law is that, my son-in-law does this, he's accomplished that. The fathers want to stick their chest down and brag about their son-in-laws. There's nothing wrong with that. So these guys who don't understand that that's what women are looking for. There's somebody with the similar values and morals and educational level and a great personality and all this stuff that's going to make them proud and fit into the relationships and the family structures that they already have in place. There's nothing wrong with that. And the fact that the guy has some money and he, has some means to provide the children with private schools and her with a nice house and a safe neighborhood and a nice safe vehicle to drive around the kids in and, all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's icing on the cake. That's what these girls want, and that's what they plan their lives to have. So for y'all to be sitting around here being grudgeful about it is silly. Instead, raise yourself up to meet those standards. Instead of sitting around on YouTube making videos and ranting and raving and being angry as fuck because you don't meet the standard. Just go on over there with your little troll asses somewhere, sit down and shut the fuck up, because you're not trying to be the men that these women want. You resent the fact that they have these standards and you don't meet them. And that's just crazy to me. If you don't want to meet them, that's fine. But don't be mad because the women have them. You don't have no right to tell them not to have standards. Okay, so then the second issue that women have that these guys tend to hate is that they feel entitled. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. They feel, I work and I have this and I'm that, I'm a nice guy, blah, blah, blah. So in their minds, that makes them feel entitled to have the woman that they want, right? And it's like it permeates their posts and comments and videos. I mean, when you really listen to that stuff, that's the underlying message. They're angry because the women they wanted did not want them back. And they felt because they were, this little checklist of things that they were entitled to have those women and those women should want them. And they're livid that the women don't. So what I wanted to explain is, dudes, let me check this out. We want a man who's going to love us. Y'all don't express any love for women. You talk about pumping and dumping and all kind of rude, nasty, disgusting stuff. None of that shows any love, respect, admiration, consideration, nothing for women. Why would a woman want to be with you? There's nothing in it for her. So, it's like they objectify women. They want to feel like they're entitled. Like she's like a pet rock or something. That's about as much emotion as they have attached to it. Women want a man who's, appreciative of her, who's grateful that she's in his life. He's thankful that she's there, and he tells her that. He treats her that way, like he's very, tender to her and adoring and kind and sweet and thoughtful. That's the kind of stuff that makes a woman want to be with you and stay with you, not all this, feeling like you entitled. And a woman is entitled to look for a man who's loyal and who's emotionally intimate with her, somebody that she can trust and somebody that she loves. Plus, she can have all of that, plus the nice house, plus the nice clothes and a car. Okay, she wants it all and she has every right to get it if that's what she wants. And she can hold off for it. She does not have to settle for you. So, the part that they didn't get, though, like even if a woman say she does get with a wealthy dude, right? He better bring it. Your money and the house you put her in and stuff, that ain't enough. I mean, you have to talk to her. You have to be emotional with her. If you're not, she's going to hunger for it. And those are women who get with the rich dudes and then end up, as they say, fucking a pool boy because he, makes time for her. He pays attention to her. He talks to her. He flatters her. He's, adoring and tender with her. And if you guys don't do that with your wives, don't be mad that the women leave you. Come on now. And you want to say it's because of hypergamy. It's not because of hypergamy. It's because you're a piss poor fucking ass husband or boyfriend. You don't understand what the woman is looking for. You don't understand what she needs. Or if you do, you refuse to give it to her. Either way, the end result for her is the same. You're not meeting her needs and she's out. Deuces. Okay. So I don't even know what to say about that. But then, okay, here comes this third dude, right? I'm cruising around. I'm listening to videos and, just generally listen to the bullshit flow forth from these dudes' lips. So this one dude is a brother, too. He was just, and looked like a fucking turtle and had the nerve to be a turtle with glasses and had the nerve to be talking about, women being older and all this stuff. And I know he had to be in his mid-40s if he was a day. This motherfucker. So then he says, when women say that they can't find a man, what they really mean is I can't find a man for, to, or who. And then he had this list of things like, who makes enough money, who will help me take care of my kids, to have babies with, to marry, and all this stuff. And so then he starts telling this story. Right. I'm skipping some. Okay, so then he says, but he was waiting to hear a woman who would say, I can't find a man, I don't know why, because I fucking like men. And the thing that made me laugh is that, on the other hand, when women do that, right, then we get posts like the original one I was telling you about, women just like losers, yo. Okay, you see what I mean? So either she holds out for the standards that she has, or she falls for this fear-mongering bullshit that I'm going to tell you about in a second that this guy was spewing forth in this video. And so then she chooses, the first viable candidate who comes along and tries to make it work with him because she's afraid, which is what you made her be, to choose some man who's doesn't meet her standards. So see, I'm telling you ladies, they try to put you in this cross. You all need to really listen, kind of listen to both messages so you can see what I'm talking about. They are full of shit. It's like no matter what you do, you're wrong for doing it. If you wait and you have standards, you're too picky, you're too this, you're too that, you just a gold digger. You a hypergamist, you just a heifer. You don't really want a good man, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as you relax your standards and get with one of them and try to make it work, then, you just pick losers. What's wrong with you? So it's like you just can't fucking win. So just do what you want to do. So then anyway, so let me get back to, he's telling a story right in the video how he was talking to this attorney who was evidently 37 years old. That's young. And so she was, I guess talking about how she wanted to, meet a man or whatever. So then he's like, well, if you trying to be hypergamous, then that means that you, as an attorney, you would have to be picking a man who's above you, and that would mean he would have to be a lawyer or a doctor. And that pool of men is very small, lawyers, doctors, judges, etc. Okay, that was his first mistake. A man who is on an equal level with her could own a small business. He could be in some other field like engineering. He could be a .com type person. Some of these software programmers and stuff like that make more than these attorneys and doctors. So, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, unless you're a senior attorney partner in a law firm, you ain't making that much money. So he's, kind of confused. I don't know what he's thinking. It's a nice salary if you can get it. You have an established practice, but those are usually guys like in their 50s and 60s who've been in business for a long time and have a well-established client base. So I don't know what he's talking about, but anyway, that's what he said. Okay, so then he says, but while you doing all that, those men, because they have a higher position, they have access to women at your level and below. Okay, so that puts you in a position where you're competing with a lot of women, that are younger than you. And when it comes to having, he wants babies, he's not going to pick you. And I don't think it's going to happen like that. So then she says to him, so you saying that I'm going to be alone the rest of my life? And he said, no, but you may want to get a cat. Okay, see, that was the beginning of the bullshit. And he thought that shit was funny. I was not amused. Because that's a typical nigga man response to something when You know, when they're talking about black women being single, they want to start talking about some damn allergy producing cats, like everybody wants a fucking furry beast in their house. So what he has, what he ignores is that as a man, okay, yeah, women get older, and women, the likelihood of them getting pregnant or having birth defects does increase after mid 40. So she's only 37. She got plenty of time to have some damn babies. Now, especially as a black woman, that shit about having, babies really doesn't seem to apply so much to us. Women be getting pregnant at 48, 50. So then he says, well, you you're just going to be less desirable and all that stuff because of your age. And I'm looking at him. I'm thinking, your crusty, dusty ass with your ashy penis have been like passe for 20 years. Don't nobody want to have a baby by you. Trust me. So when you look at these dudes and, they're sitting there and they forget that, sperm has an expiration date too. Because y'all be making some defective old looking ass babies. If you want to see my whole spiel on that, check out the video called "There's No Fool Like an Old Fool," because I break it down in there and have the scientific proof to talk about them old ass sperms and all the defects that come along with it. Then you got to realize too, as an older dude, you have some baggage. So that means you've been passed over yourself. You have some bad habits that you've developed. You obviously don't know how to treat women, because otherwise you would have been married. You're a whoremonger, or you think you was a player. Whatever you was, see, you just been chasing around for all these decades, and then you get 40 something or 50 and think you're gonna settle down and get you a prime piece of young pussy because you think that you deserve it. You wrinkled up, fucked up old fool. No, that's not gonna happen. So you need to have a reality check and look in the mirror, look at that funny looking face staring back at you, and understand that, you got just as rejected as some woman who may have not have picked a man or whatever. Y'all in the same boat. So don't be looking at her pointing a finger. Your ancient ass is not married and don't have no kids either. So shut the fuck up. Just shut up. So, I think, if he was really something about something, he would be with his woman. He wouldn't be on YouTube making videos about single women and what they don't have in a man. Come the fuck on. So then he starts talking about, that women have this basic innate desire for hypergamy. And, so he went on and more about that women are not willing to settle. And then he says, you may not be willing to settle, but you're in a weak bargaining position. See, this is where he put the knife in women. And for the women who are easily frightened, who don't really analyze what niggas are saying or why they're saying it, this would be like the knife in their heart. So he says, by the time you're ready to look around for a man, it may be too late. So he was referencing the fact that, she put in all these years to studying, getting her JD, her undergrad, her JD, and being an intern, and, all the stuff, right? Associate attorney. And you're basically trying to climb the ladder. And he's like, men generally want shiny, happy, pretty, and fertile women to do all that with. So now how much, so no matter how much you tell men that shit shouldn't matter to us, it does matter. It's built into us and not going anywhere. So, he's talking about, the women get angry because they get rejected and blah, 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 blah. So basically what you have is, these guys who are, basically they're trying to push you into settling. They're trying to push you into just getting with a man just out of desperation and fear, because they don't want you to have these standards that you have. They don't want you to wait for a man who's going to uplift you. They don't wait for a man who's looking for, who's better, going to better your situation. They want you to accept these guys who are not quite what you're looking for. Now, sometimes there may be a little flexibility, but that would be your choice. You're like, okay, and say instead of you looking for a doctor, you might settle for a court clerk, or you might settle for a police officer, or a deputy sheriff, or a fireman, or something like that. You see what I'm saying? He's still a great guy. He still makes a lot of money. He's still a professional in his field, but he may not be in the same field as you, like he implied. So there's flexibility there. So don't jump off a cliff, ladies. Don't slit your wrists. Don't do anything rash because of what this fool says. So, yeah, these guys, they want to get the attention of beautiful, highly desirable women, and then they get angry when those women don't want to give them the time of day. And so they start calling it biological conditioning and evolution as the reason why they're getting rejected when that's not it. The reason why you're getting rejected is because you ain't shit. So then in the black community, we have women that far outnumber men when you look at the acquisition of educational degrees. The sisters is like 5 to 1 now. I mean, it's like sisters from the last statistics I read are getting the most degrees of any race in the country. Okay. So educationally, black women are doing the do. And this is kind of amazing to me. But you got to realize, ladies, if you stuck on that nothing but a black man who's going to be higher than you, kind of thing, you're going to have to do a kind of a reality check. And let me run these points by you. Okay, because the more educated that you are, the more likely that you are to be single if you're trying to wait on only a black man, then you want him to be on a similar level to you educationally. You see what I'm saying? That eliminates a whole bunch of dudes right off the bat. So unless you're willing to get with a man of another race, or C, marry down, you have something to think about. If you want to be with a man, you want to have a husband and a family, you're going to have to probably pick B or C. And that may not necessarily be a bad thing, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about the women who get with these dudes who don't meet any kind of real standards. These are like the fix-it men. Some people call them build-a-man kits and all this stuff. I call them the fix-it men. They're broken men, and here you come trying to fix them. You want to, put your little Home Depot project together, and you want to fix this man and make him into something. What are some of the reasons that women get on this track? I have a list. You know me. What you call it? Number one, socialization. When you think about it, look at how black women are socialized to give and uplift and support men. And we also have the fact that, a lot of young girls are raised in single parent homes with women who aren't necessarily the best model for how to choose a man. This is not something that's, you really taught in the black community like it is amongst white folk. Because I lived amongst white people, and they have a whole different idea about training their daughters what to look for in a husband. They be on it. And we need to do more of that as black parents. So, if a girl's raised around a woman who, supported and uplifted and all this stuff for some old useless dude, and that's the only love that she's ever seen firsthand, she's going to tend to emulate what she's seen. It's just, that's what she saw, so that's what she knows is supposed to be the right thing to do, right? The women do for the men, and the men make demands to be done for. And this kind of behavior is supported by biblical scriptures, right? Cloaked in that being submissive shit, or doing good for my husband. Even if the man, even they're not really married, she still, got this mindset that since that's her man, that she got to treat him like a husband. And I'll go into more of that in a minute. Number two, low self-esteem. Now, when you believe that you don't deserve to be treated well, that someone is more important to you, their needs are more important, what they want, what they like, what they think, what they believe, and all this stuff is more important, more valuable than yourself, then you will tend to fall into this trap. You will feel like you don't really truly deserve to be loved or honored or respected. You take a lot of shit from men because what you're more afraid of is losing a relationship than you are in having the right man be in a relationship with you. See, you just choose men who just don't treat you well, and you stay in those relationships because you think that's all you can get. Number three, desperation. A lot of women are so afraid of being single and lonely that they'll take any man who just meets super basic qualifications of maleness. I'm not even going to say manhood, maleness. And, to these ladies, having any old piece of man is better than no man at all. These are the kind you often hear there in a crowd or online or whatever, women talking about being single. Here's the first thing out their mouth. Well, at least I got a man. They come at you like that. Number 4, there's a lot of black women who believe in potential. Man could be 60 years old and they still banking on his potential. Motherfucker gonna be dead next week. But somehow in her mind, he still has potential for greatness. So, they all stuck on this thing where, black men have been given a raw deal and it's our role as black women to help them like they're little children. So these women try to love and support that man into being the man that they dream of. They try to mold him. And of course it doesn't work. It doesn't happen. If he's not motivated to do it his damn self, then it's not going to ever happen no matter how many, times you jump around and try to help him and hope and pray for better for him. He has to want to do that himself. Number 5, fear of being condemned by the black community as being too picky, a gold digger, or having standards that are too high for black men to meet. This is very common. You get guilt tripped like this a lot. This is in line with what that guy I was just telling about, this video I was quoting from. That's the mentality that he has. That their standards, these women are too picky and they have standards that are too high. So this is one of the, really horrible names black women frequently get called, and they get shamed into accepting men who offer nothing and have nothing to give. And just, I don't know, it's like you get brainwashed into thinking that it's something to be proud of, but to have this guy to take care of like he's a little kid. And, but what I always find so amazing is, okay, you doing everything right, you running shit. But yet and still, you want to tell people that he's your king and he's head of the household. Where is he head? Please explain that to me. Where? Nigga ain't doing shit. Okay, he ain't about shit. And if you got to do all this stuff and you have to fill in all the blanks and you have to row the boat of the relationship all by yourself, he's just a passenger and sitting on his ass, then he's not head of shit. He's just another kid in the household, just a tall child that you taking care of. Now, for some women, like I said, they would rather have that than nothing. So they settle for that. And, if that's your mentality, I'm not going to knock it. I'm just saying this is one of the things that the fix-it chicks, do. Number 6, they believe all black men are kings. It's your king. And to these chicks, it doesn't matter what the dude has, what he hasn't done with his life, how many times he's been behind bars, how useless he is, how stupid he is, how violent or abusive he is. The fact that he has black skin makes him worthy of their time and attention and respect. He gets honored as a king just for showing up and being black. That's it. That's all he got to do. Just show up. And they just instantly, welcome him as their king. And I find that just fucking amazing. Like I said, do you, but I don't know, my sisters. What is the point of that? And then my 7th one, the pick me crowd. These are the chicks who do, as I say in my video, audition to be a wife. This is one of my first videos. I did probably 5 or 6 years ago. I did this video. And some men, they want to challenge women, right, to prove that they, quote, deserve to be wifed up. I'll put links in the show page description of these videos, so you just click them and go right to them, all the ones that reference these points I'm making. So you trying to qualify, right? You trying to be everything and do everything, so he'll pick you. And these are women who always felt that they weren't enough, so they believe that they have to they have to earn the man's love and affection by sacrificing and over giving to him. It's like they just feel like if they work hard enough, if they just do more, if they give enough, if they clean the house enough, if they cook enough, if they sex and freaky enough, then they'll get picked. And if they get picked, that means they'll get blessed with a ring and they'll get the title of Mrs. And they feel like their life will be complete. And I think that's kind of sad, but that's, those are some of the reasons why women get involved in those in those fix-it situations with guys who you might be considered to be a loser. But there is a difference between an average, just a basic dude and a true loser. What's the difference, you might ask? And I'm going to tell you. Have you seen this video that's going around? It's a surveillance video from a store where this stocky built black dude was beating this pregnant woman on crutches down to the ground. I mean, he was hitting this chick and he was kicking her and stomping her even after she was down. Okay, this dude is a straight loser. Now, losers okay, versus like just an average basic dude, a loser is gonna bring drama. I mean, he's gonna bring heartache and headache and emotional pain and financial disaster. And he's gonna impact your social standing where people start avoiding you because they don't want to be around his dumb ass. Or he's gonna, be trying to like keep you away from people by isolating you. But either way, it's gonna impact your social circle and your network. He may beat you, twist your arm, slap you, punch you, stuff, whatever. It's going to cause you physical pain. And these guys will fuck you up, and you and anybody in your household, to the point where when it's over, you don't even want to be involved in a relationship. You don't even want to date anybody. You don't even want to see a man. That's how you know you was involved with a loser, because they had the type of personalities that I discussed in that Cluster B video series, in the Games Black Men Play series, and then the video called, crushing her self-esteem. So all of those videos touch on these issues, but in different ways, in different components. I'll link all these as well. So after you deal with one of these dudes, right, you'll notice that your self-esteem and your self-confidence is shaky, just to sometimes like from going from shaky to just in the toilet. Sometimes they just leave you, they'll leave you bankrupt, they'll leave you with broken bones, they leave you with a prison record because they got you involved in some shit, putting drugs in your house or in your car or something. And sometimes they leave you with an incurable disease. Okay, those dudes are true losers, okay? But, then on the other hand, we have, just your average kind of basic dude. I mean, he's not a horrible person. He doesn't really do anything intentionally like the loser types do to hurt you. He's just, just kind of basic. He may not be as ambitious as some of the guys that we mentioned. He has simple needs. He's satisfied with just being regular, And this is a guy, like I said, he's going to be perfect for somebody, especially the type of women that want a guy to just come home at night, every night at 5:30, or for these really tightly wound, high achiever type A personality women. They need somebody to balance that shit. And so a lot of those type of women tend to marry these, more calm beta type guys, and it works out really well because she's like, "Wah!" and he's, the calm, easygoing type, and they balance each other out. It's really interesting to see. So, to some guys he may seem like a loser. But to me, there's like a huge difference between a loser and just being a guy that a woman chooses because he meets her needs for companionship, for fun and laughter and for sex and for family. And so a woman has to know herself. You got to know it yourself and who it is you are and what your real needs are, and pick a man that meets your needs. Don't go by what you've been told. Don't go by what society tells you that you should want. Go by what you need. And I think, a lot of women have gotten to that point, and so they will choose one of these, more just basic blue collar type of dudes because the guy, he meets their needs. And I think a lot of guys, like if a woman is making a lot of money herself, she's making 150 grand, 100 grand, 250, I mean, whatever her thing is, she's an high level executive, she travels, she does the stuff. Okay, she needs somebody who's going to be more flexible with his schedule, who can pick the kids up for daycare and do homework with them and stuff, because she's not going to be around. And this makes a good couple. They kind of bounce off of each other. And when they get together, it really works out. They really have a happy home as long as they keep their respect levels in check. So I made this chart, right? And it shows you the difference between hypergamy and hypogamy and what, the trade-offs are for each gender under each principle. And I think it's, pay special attention to the hypogamy one, because notice, ladies, that even though the guy may not have money, he has something to offer. He has some kind of social status, some kind of like fame. He got something going on that that you're welcoming into your life that you feel is going to better you. In the Victorian era, it might be like somebody who was a count or a sir, whatever, whose family fell on hard financial times. All the man has is his title. Okay, they might still have their home, property, whatever. So he has to marry a woman of means so that his family can come up. He's a good looking guy. He's got a title. Her family got some money, but they don't have any title. So by this rich woman marrying this dude, she becomes, Duchess, whatever, or, whatever. She gets some little title. And then he gets access to her money, and it saves his family, and it all works out. But you ladies, some of you getting involved with these dudes, they don't have shit. They don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, and you're looking at them as a viable mate, and I'm not sure that's a smart decision. So you're gonna end up like Mary J in a minute and be trying to figure out what happened. So this is, what I got to say on this whole hypergamy thing, and women choosing a man who some people might consider to be a loser or beneath her in some kind of way. You got to give this some real serious thought, because no matter what color the man is, no matter what color you are, because I have a large intercultural audience that listens to these videos. And in this particular instance, ladies, it really doesn't matter what race you are, what race he is. What matters is how you handle your needs, and how you protect yourself, and how you what kind of structures you put in place to make sure that this guy that you're getting involved with is really going to be the kind of guy that really does meet your needs. Don't settle for a man out of fear. Don't just get with somebody because you're scared of being alone. You're scared of being single. You're scared you're going to be stuck with a bunch of cats like these knuckleheads always talking about. Don't let yourself become fearful behind that nonsense they be talking about. But really do give your dating pattern some serious consideration, and see if there's room for you to be flexible, or if maybe you need to elevate your standard. There's two ways to look at this. All right, this is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com, closing out with another video to help you get a better handle on your relationships and your love life. I'll talk to you guys real soon.